Can you
Going
hear that?
live. No. And we are live, peeps. Welcome to the Brian and Tubbs Culture Cast. And today we've got a pretty big episode for you. It was a massive week for us, like comic book movie and pop culture fans. We finally had the arrival of Snyder Cut, the Justice League remake, redo, whatever you want to call it. And we also had the first episode of Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
We did.
So, yeah, we had a bit of Marvel, DC, everything this week. And before we go any further, there was an even bigger show that started. Can you believe this? Bigger than DC, bigger than Marvel. The Twisted Tubbs podcast kicked off on Wednesday. And there's 2 episodes up now on Wednesday and from Friday. 1 interview with yours truly and 1 interview with Tell 'em Tubbs.
Yes, basically on Wednesday I dropped the very first podcast of the Twisted podcast, and I think I'm glitching here again. Is this even fucking happening? I don't know. But anyway, Wednesday night dropped the very first episode of Twisted Tubbs podcast. Brian was the first guest because it just seemed more natural to have it happen that way. And the second guest was Tristan Risk. So if you do like what I'm doing with the podcast, you do like listening to me ramble back and forth with people on this kind of concept, yeah, check it out, man. Every Wednesday and Friday at 4 p.m. Irish time.
So, Tubbs, for those people who don't know a lot, who wouldn't know Tristan Risk, tell us a bit about her.
Yes. I'm just going to throw it out there, right? I checked my fucking statement before we started this live stream, and it fucking told me I had 206 megabytes and fucking better fucking hook, or I'd be fucking smashing some folks. But yeah, Tristan Risk is a very, very talented actress from Canada, but she's an author, a writer, director, burlesque dancer. She just does so many different things. She is a jackling of all trades. She is just a fantastic human to boot, and yeah, I mean, she's check it out, man. She's very interesting from top to bottom. To date, it's the longest podcast I think we've had on of the 2. You know? But yeah, it's a very interesting story. And I just recommend, if you don't know who she is, go try to check her out. She's on Instagram and Facebook and all over the interwebs. So yeah, Tristan Risk. Little Miss Risk is what you look for there. And another person who's right here, Brian's Action Figure Reviews, Brian Regan. You know, he's a fucking good dude, man. Check out his fucking channel. Check out my interview with him. You find some tidbits you might not have known. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Well, yeah, guys, so I'm going to drop, if you give me a moment, Tubbs, you can continue to chat there, because I'm going to drop your link in the chat for people to check out. So what are we going to talk about next, Tubbs?
Deadly. I don't know. I mean, like I think we were going to talk about some cartoons or something, but or maybe some like good. The fuck am I kidding, man? We're here to talk about fucking Zack Snyder's Justice League. And do you want to know one thing I will say this week? Aside from the Twisted Tubbs podcast, you know, dropping and that being like the most epic thing to ever hit the internet, this week was a very fucking strange week because normally you have this fucking fandom fucking divide. It's always fuck DC, screw Marvel. It's always this fucking thing. This week, man, like you know yourself, there's always going to be those fucking types of people online and people throwing it in to rip shit apart or whatever, right? But this week I found, for the majority's sake, there was people relatively happy for DC and Marvel products just to drop in 1 week, and they were happy with all the content they received. And that doesn't happen very often. You know what I mean? When you have 2 fucking brands of DC drop, and it's usually fucking one-sided or up, because that's just how fandom is. This week wasn't so, especially from what I'm reading anyway, or from what I was seeing, it was positive for the most part. And anyway, just for anyone else, right, that watched the Justice League, and if you didn't like it, fair enough, you didn't like it. But I'm pretty sure there's 2 people right here on this podcast that really fucking did dig the shit out of it. So we're going to talk about it. Now, is it perfect, Brian? Of course it's not. Is anything really perfect? Of course it's fucking not. Because I watched The Winter Soldier and I fucking dug the shit out of it, but I was still going, one or two bits. It's entertainment. It's never going to 100% floor you to the ground. Because at the end of the day, it's all fucking interpretation. It's all opinion based. We've said it so many times on our shows. You like something, you like it. Don't get shitty if someone else likes something. Just don't, because it's just, what's the fucking point? It's you wasting your energy and you're wasting ours. We're just, come along on a journey. This is what happens when Brian goes, I'm going to drop a link in the chat and I'm going to let you fucking ramble.
Okay, so Bruno says in the comments, tits out for Harambe. Yeah, you get the tits out, Bruno. We'll watch. Okay, Justice League. So,
yes,
Tubbs, I'm partly guessing you orgasmed, fangasmed, Snydergasmed all over the place, right?
Before we get into it, though, stop fucking freezing. Before we get into it, anyway, everyone, massive spoiler warning. Anyway, for anyone that hasn't seen it, I think we put it up 3 or 4 times in post already. We're going to deep dive into this motherfucker. We're going to spoil it. Not intentionally to spoil it for you people, but just in general, we're going to talk shit about it. We're going to get deep into it. So if you haven't seen it, jog on and go watch it and come back and watch this later. But actually, don't. We want the interaction. Stay
and chat and be spoiled. It's a 4-year-old movie anyway.
It's not, and I'm going to get into this conversation because I've had fucking topics of conversation with people on this. Segments were the same. This is a completely different beast. We'll get into that. But yeah, you know me, man. I was waiting. You know me. I was waiting for this to come. I was so fucking on fucking board for this, because at the end of the day, and I said it to you because I loved Man of Steel. I really dug Batman versus Superman, even though there were so many people that were like, "You're fucking wrong." I'm not wrong, lads. I'm not wrong because I fucking enjoyed it. It doesn't matter what you felt about it. Your feelings are your opinions. And it's how you felt about that certain thing. I've watched things that I've hated and other people have loved. Me and Brian always talk about this stuff. But at the end of the day, I dug Man of Steel and I really enjoyed Batman versus Superman. So for me, the Justice League we got in 2017, the one that's been dubbed the Whedon cut, I hated it. It didn't feel like it was really attached to those two movies. The tone, the jokes, the humor, it just felt so different, and it ended up being a terrible movie with a shitty villain and no character development, and it was just a fucking pile of piss. This one for me, this is the third part of that trilogy that we should have got 4 years ago. Now we got it, and I'm interested to know where you stand in it because I could gush on this all day, you know that, but I'm very interested to see where you're coming from on it.
I had an interesting conversation with my friend Michael and Bruno earlier, and Michael said it's pretty much the same movie, man, with just more foundation would be a word for it. And I kind of argued I hated the Whedon cut when I saw it first, but then again, it was so bad I can't remember half. So, like when I was watching the new one the other day, I did remember the scenes, but there was a lot more heft and a lot more, I don't know, emotion tied to it. Maybe, I don't know. A lot of the scenes were a lot better. It's built a lot better, but I know I always have a but, and I'll say I'm gonna rail on Winter Soldier in a while as well, because I have loads of problems with that. As much as I enjoyed it, my overriding thoughts is if anybody else had an extra 4 years and an extra 70 million quid, they could probably make a better movie than the first attempt as well.
Well, I get that as well, but from where I'm coming from with it is I did go back and watch the Justice League one from 2017 before we did this, and man, it's fucking shocking. I mean, when I say this, it's shocking the things that he changed. Like when the stuff was already there, because from what everyone kind of gathers now from seeing this and before I go on about this, I have to state one more thing as well, that it's 4 hours. That gives you tons more time to really, really flesh out characters and plot and story and everything else, right? And really, really give these characters, like especially Cyborg and Flash, I felt these two characters really, really got kind of best way to put it. They really, really were showcased in this version. Like they were throwaway characters in the one we got in 2017. There was just nothing there. You could have made that entire movie without those two characters because they were just stupidly fucking done. And it was like the landing on Wonder Woman joke. It was really stupid things. The Flash did. It was like I just push people and things like that. Like the Flash in this movie for me, by the time the credits rolled, Jesus, they showcased how powerful the Flash is meant to be.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But but the Snyder cut, but like you have to understand as well is like it's not like the 70 million or the 7 million or whatever went in, or like what was stated went into this. It's not like that like went and shot 2.5 hours of extra film, you know.
Mm.
Like
yeah, a lot of it was effects.
They shot like it was all effects and stuff, and obviously, you know, like score and things like that. They had to go into the finished product of it. But this is the issue that I could see when I went back and watched it, because there are similarities. There are scenes that are in this new version that are in the original one, but you can see that there's stuff that was cut out, stuff that was changed. Whedon basically was handed an almost finished product, and decided his ego was too fucking large to just put someone else's movie out. So he kind of, it seems like I mean, I don't know, I work for Warner Brothers, but it just seems like with, just seems like, you know, like with industry kind of input, Warner Brothers execs jumping in and piling on and changing things. Basically, not to jump on Marvel, I reckon the conversation was, we need this to be more like Marvel.
Well,
if DC's not.
From what I heard,
we've had this conversation. So yeah, go on.
From what I heard with the execs of Warner Brothers, the merger with AT&T was happening at the time, and of course, tragically, Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide, and obviously, like he needed. What are you laughing at? Oh, sorry, you froze. But have we lost you? And it looks like we've lost Tubbs, folks. There we go.
What happened?
We just lost you there, man.
Oh man, did I just jump out today?
Yeah. Anyway, like what did you hear me saying last?
Your face froze, and I was talking. Like I'd been talking for a good 3 minutes, and then Zoom just stopped working.
All right, okay. But anyway, I was just saying about Warner Brothers, basically.
Yeah.
The last thing you said was you stopped for me to talk, then you froze. But anyway, second now. Yeah, what I was going to say was the time Warner Brothers were merging with AT&T. Remember that happened?
Yeah.
This was around the same time they were finishing the original 2017 version, and Snyder's daughter tragically committed suicide. Yeah. Autumn, wasn't it?
Yes.
And he wanted more time to finish the movie.
Yeah.
But they denied him that because they would have missed out on their bonuses from the takeover if they didn't release it within a certain window. That's why Joss Whedon was brought in. Like, I don't know. Warner Brothers are fucking assholes anyway for that.
Yeah, I mean,
on a human level, more than anything.
I mean, you've seen it. Like, I mean, like, and this is one thing I noticed with this version as well. If you go back and watch the Whedon cut, it's like, and it's just a crazy thing. It's a controversial one I'm going to bring up. All the characters of color were either removed or shortened completely down in the original version.
I think that's just a coincidence, though, man.
Now, look, it could have been something that, like when they put in, it's like, oh, maybe this scene's too long. Take this out. We need to shorten this down for 2.5 hours. Because that's the point I was going to make. Is if this version was released, I still think it would have been received way better. Like it's a much, much stronger version. But I think if it was released, because in 2017 it would have been released in cinemas, and you know yourself, 4 hours in a cinema, that's a trek. It
But
wouldn't
like,
have made sense business, because you wouldn't have, if you put a film in a cinema hall, and you know what I mean, and it's 4 hours, you have less showings of that movie. Business wise, that probably wouldn't have made a lot of sense to them. But now we're in a streaming kind of scenario. That makes all the sense in the world to push this out. Because all people are doing is binge watching shit now anyway.
that's true, but again, when you think about it, though, if Snyder had gotten to make this movie, in 2017, like, would it have been as good as this? I don't think so. Like, he did get, lest you forget, he did get to release Batman versus Superman, and that needed an extended cut as well after the DVD Blu-ray release. Like, so is Snyder?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. But
I mean, I think you can tell by Snyder with his movies, Brian, that he likes to tell long stories, like long fleshed out stories. So, like you saw it even with the Watchmen director's cut, everything seems to have a director's cut. I feel, I mean, if it's going to go streaming now, it's the perfect time to let these directors tell these long stories. Because, I mean, I've heard from a lot of people just having conversations that, like when this ended after the 4 hours, like, people were like, geez, man, I wanted more. You know what I mean? They were like, oh, man, I would have watched more if there was more there. Like, and that's after 4 hours.
So let's, like, forget about politics and bullshit about it and just actually talk about our likes, our likes and dislikes. I'm going to start off because I know you love hearing me rip things to bits. What it didn't need, friends. You just mentioned, right? It was 4 hours long, and people would have watched more. I would have shaved a load off. Being honest, I would have gotten rid of the whole nightmare scene at the end. I would have gotten rid of Martian Manhunter. I'd have ended it when they beat Steppenwolf there and then. The Barry Allen car crash scene, take that out as well. But I do like all the cyborg bits and pieces, and I absolutely my main takeaway from this movie was how good of a villain Steppenwolf was, and I hated him in the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely, because in this one, his motivations were like of that thing. I'm doing this because, like, I've wronged you, like Darkseid, I've wronged you in the past, and this is my way home. So whatever I have to do to get home, I just want to go home. His whole thing is he's this big, like, crazy fucking badass brute, and he just wants to go home. So he's going to do whatever he needs to do. Because if you remember in the 2017 version, this is what I mean when you watch this movie. There's some scenes. Obviously, the story arc is similar. It's the same. It's the same story arc. Well, to a point, because there's a lot more stuff. Like Darkseid wasn't even like involved in all that kind of stuff. But like, it's the core elements are the same, because like they took Whedon and Warner Brothers took a movie that was already created and built their own Frankenstein on top of it. But for me, in this one, it was very cool to have Steppenwolf be a strong villain instead of him just being, because if you remember in the 2017 version, his whole motivation was a mother in the box, a mother. I want to lick your face, mother. Oh, join together, mother. You know, it was. If he, like, I watched it recently, so it's like it's all about his fascination with the mother boxes. I was going, and he just and even how he looks fucking stupid.
He looked like a video game character from PlayStation 1 era.
Yes, he was. Now, and I've heard a lot of people, or not a lot, but I've heard a few people say, oh, Steppenwolf looked like a fucking video game character. I was like, no, he fucking didn't. He looked fucking unreal.
There was a point where his face looked fucking stupid, and he was like a puppy when the sad was given out to him and stuff.
This is the thing. I heard this, all right? I heard that was actually purposely done. Because he's this big, huge brute inside in this big, huge fucking shell of armor, and you can even see it more so when Darkseid actually appears, you know, through that portal kind of image thing, where like everyone kind of like takes a knee, and he literally backs down, and the thing comes off, like a scared puppy dog. you know. So it makes sense. Like, I mean, that face was fucking crazy. But I mean, do you think, outside of Steppenwolf, do you think that even though obviously we didn't get heaps and tons of Darkseid, right? I think we got a fucking a good enough chunk of him. Like, we saw we could see what he's capable of in this movie. You know what I mean?
What I loved,
what?
what I loved about the other bad guys was there was literally a banter between Sad and Darkseid about how he was going to fail. And I told you he was going to fail. Yes, yeah. It seems you were right. And he's like, "Don't be calling here if you don't get your shit done, man."
And that's what it was.
I actually love that.
I think he had two mother boxes at one point, and then he kind of like he phoned home, and Assad was like,
"Don't be calling here if you don't get your shit together, buddy."
Exactly. He was like, "Have the third box," and then he had said it already, but then he was like, "Oh, the parademons are tracking it. They're looking as we speak," and he was like, "Well, then, like, go do your job, find it before," and he's going to go. He's being chastised by the higher ups. It's fucking funny, like. But the thing I obviously, like, you could definitely see from this film that this film was set up to go right into like the Darkseid is the next phase of the movie. But going back to what you were saying about the cutting scenes and things like that, like, I mean, I understand the nightmare scene obviously was a setup for the next one, giving you more glimpses into the thing, because they did it in Batman versus Superman as well. You know, you had a nightmare sequence, and then there was another one here. There was one, and this isn't even the Joker, because I actually have to fucking say, I actually quite dug the Joker and Batman's interaction in that scene. I liked it.
I just want to say,
like, there was the line he used, the old reach around line. I was going, fucking hell.
Ben Hourigan says hello in the comments. Ben is my nephew-in-law. And Jack Sullivan says hello, y'all. Doing good, doing great, Jacks. Hope you're enjoying the chat.
Thanks,
buddy. About that nightmare scene. Of all the fucking people in there, why did they have that? Pause for language. Cunt Amber Heard in there.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about this because look, she didn't bother me in the movie. I kind of floated past her, no pun intended, because she's an Atlantean.
God, why? Why?
But yeah, so I just kind of floated past her. She for me, I was like, all right, she's Mira, grand, get to the stuff. I hate her. Like, I can't stand Amber Heard, and more so for that's more politics shit for another show. But I know you don't like her. So when I saw her show up, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, right? Aquaman came out obviously after the Justice League was released back in 2017. Yeah. And her accent was completely different in Aquaman. So I'm wondering to myself, did the director of Aquaman not see Snyder's version, or he's anything? Did anyone feed things that, like, this is how she is, this is how she acts? No. It was so fucking weird.
Maybe her accent is different underwater or something.
Now, there was a few sections of the like, it was cool seeing Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe was pretty cool when I saw him. I was like, that's class. I was digging that.
I spotted as well. When Willem Dafoe says to Momoa, "Take up your mother's trident," and he hands him a weapon that is not a fucking trident.
Yeah, I mean, like, because he was when Mira comes along, he's at sorry, correct myself. It's when Willem Dafoe first comes up, and he's actually on the throne with the trident. I was like, and that should be the trident he uses, right? You know, why would he use his mother's one? He, like, you know what I mean? Not to say like men and women, but isn't it the king's trident he should be taking up? I don't know. It was weird, but okay, so, like, leaning into it, like, as I said, Cyborg, for me, so fucking happy to see how much they dove into him. Like, he was the heart of the movie, to be fair. He was genuinely the heart and soul of this film. Like, but the shocker for me was Flash, because I was very curious to see how much did how much did push Flash's powers and things with Ezra Miller and things like that. Jesus, that, I mean, the sequence near the end of it was just fucking unreal. Like, it really, really showed. And as you said about emotion, I felt like when you saw it the first time, obviously there was a couple of emotional scenes in this movie. Like, there was weight to it as well. I was kind of saying, oh shit, Cyborg Man, as I could say, like, his whole arc was tragic and heavy, you know. And that one sequence, it was after like Barry Allen, the Flash, gets like shot, and he's like, you know, he's trying to fucking heal to get, you know, so he can spark off. And then you see, you know, like Darkseid and fucking shit is all winning and fucking, and it's all this crazy shit. And then he just starts running. And it's a whole run, Barry, run, you know, fucking pegging down. Fucking lost my shit. I was like, fucking yes! Because the reason I said was, when it happened, this is what I fucking was thinking. Fuck me. There's an element of Flashpoint in this entire scene I'm watching right now, because he's reversing fucking time. I was like, dude, that was fucking beast like. But so for me, yeah, Flash and Cyborg really got a lot more fucking attention and play in this, and I was happy out to see that, because now obviously, as we said, it's a 4-hour film. You had so much more time to fucking flush out things. Now, you know, at the end of the day, it comes down to Snyder's vision, and not everybody's a Snyder Vision fan, and they don't like his vision and his movies, and I get that completely. You know me, I've always been on the right. I've been enjoying the DC kind of template. I've really enjoyed it for the most part, you know. The first version of this Justice League movie, not so much. This is when I remember you even said it to me. What did you think of it when it came out? I was like, I fucking hated it. Like, hated it. Like, and I defended Batman v Superman and Superman Man of Steel to the highest point. So yeah, I mean, this one fucking, and in Wonder Woman, man, fucking, she was badass in this fucking movie.
Wonder Woman is one character across all these films that her motivations have been, and her character have just been all over the place. Like,
it's so different. It's a weird one, and I do agree with you, because in Batman versus Superman and in this, it seems like the motivations are tightly together. But obviously, Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84, it's weird. I'd say her motivation and her character are closer to this version that we watched in these movies.
But no, I would even say
84, not so much.
I would even say in this movie alone, like, I text you when I was watching about that scene in the bank as it was happening, and the viciousness and violence in it was mental. And then seconds later, she turns around to the little girl. She's like, "Oh, hi, you can be whatever you want to be." I was like, and the girl is probably after there. We just murdered several people and there's blood everywhere. What the fuck are you talking to me for?
Yeah, but I mean, look, obviously, look, come here, look. As I said, I talked about it obviously for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which we'll get into in a while. Which I was kind of going, I was like, Jesus Christ, what was that like? You know what I mean? It was,
but Falcon and Winter Soldier is more cartoon violence, like throwing people out of helicopters and stuff.
There was no cartoon violence out of what I watched in that show today, man.
She was smushing dudes into this fucking wall.
He straight up, not to spoil it for anyone, we'll get to it in a while. He straight up murdered fuckers, right? But we'll get to that later.
It's the US
military. But no, the thing, I saw a few people saying to me, like, "Oh man, there was so much slow motion in this movie." I was like,
there was.
Yeah, okay, there was, and there was. I mean, even at times, I was kind of going, I don't know if you need slow motion there, Zack. You know, he's just walking. You know, but what I loved about the Wonder Woman scene in the bank, though, I will tell you, is instead of doing the hyper slow motion, they did the complete opposite.
Oh, the super
sped up fucking where she ran across all those kids fucking defending the bullets, man. I was going, that's fucking Wonder Woman. That's how she would do it. That's fucking awesome. But yeah, there was a few things in this movie that, like, I was kind of, and you know me, you asked me what I thought, and I was like, I fucking loved it. But when Bruce is talking to Aquaman after he meets him in the pub or whatever, and he's talking to him, and then these like all these women just start singing. I was kind of going, seems strangely out of place and really long. Like, I mean, he's walking through them and they're still singing. That didn't land for me. Genuinely didn't land for me.
That to me, it seemed like he was like their kind of god. That's what I took that as. Everything with Snyder,
completely. I knew exactly
everything with Snyder
was,
is
like,
all God kind of things. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, like you could even see it as well as like even in that big huge battle scene where we're going to call him. Okay, I'm going to stop a second because I think I'm frozen again. Am I frozen? Yes, I fucking am. My stupid internet. But in the battle sequence where he wasn't Darkseid at the time, he was a younger Uxas. But you could see all of like the gods of Earth, like, you know what I mean, like Zeus and fucking. I think it was Ares and fucking all the lanterns and, you know,
it
like
was Zeus,
the old gods.
Ares, and Athena.
Yes, and they all kind of, but you could see like the you know the men, Atlanteans, fucking, you know, Amazonians, they all banded together to fight off this bigger god. And I think the whole concept of this, you know, because you're right, it's all about gods, and I think the Justice League were being built as the new gods, because you remember even Steppenwolf said it. There's no Kryptonians, there's no lanterns here, you know.
Then he said to Wonder Woman then that you have the god of the old bloods in you.
Exactly. So I mean, so I mean, there's a lot of, you know yourself with Snyder. Snyder has a lot of religious play and God and God play and stuff in these movies, and it tends to be more Greek god type scenarios he plays out more. The way Marvel would kind of work in the Norse god type things.
Well, so far, yeah.
Well, so far they're probably going to open up a can of worms on that side, but yeah, I mean, look, there's 4 hours, so I mean, if I seem like I'm rambling, it's because I'm trying to consciously remember everything. But yeah, so I didn't like the, even though I knew what it was, as you were saying, is like, you know, he's their savior. He's the guy that comes from the ocean and brings them fucking food and, you know, and things like that, you know.
Talks to the fishes.
Yeah, as Bruce said,
he's their SpongeBob.
The fishes. But yeah, so it was that, and now I did like it, but I think every single time Wonder Woman came on the screen in an action sequence, they didn't need to play the Amazon theme. Yeah. Like, it was the music. And I was conscious of it after like the 3 hour mark. I was like, they've played this a
bunch of times.
A lot. Like that same piece of music just kept coming in for Wonder Woman. But that's just, they're like nitpicky things, you know. Now the scene with Barry Allen and her name always escapes me, even though she's in the fucking book.
Iris West.
Iris West. There you go. Fucking hell. See, trying to gather all my thoughts. But yeah, that sequence for me. Like, I understand it. I love little things like when he turns to like blast out the door and like disintegrates his shoes from the speed and fucking, you know, pops the glass forward. I thought that was all really cool. I found it was like a big setup for the wiener to give the dog in the shop afterwards. It just felt
you know why he went through the window so easily, right? Because Windows doesn't support Flash anymore.
You fucking said my fucking Atlantean one was bad a while ago.
Oh, Jesus. God, I had to get that in there.
But even seeing kind of people's reactions and stuff online and watching kind of, you know, just chatting to people, some people kind of tended to see that the Iris West scene was a bit strange and kind of played out. I like it. I love that they included it because, you know, obviously, you know, they're destined to become, you know, a thing. Like she's connected to his entire story. Eventually, like, hopefully she'll be in the Flash movie. But yeah, I just thought the sequence was way too long for the payoff and stuff. But they're only stupid little nitpicks, like, for the majority of me. Like, well, for me, I enjoyed Martian Manhunter. Now, obviously they set up to show him in this one, and probably bring him in as a big part of the next one, is what I'm assuming. Obviously, the way it ended and stuff, but yeah, I mean, there was another thing as well where you could tell that this movie. This is what I mean, is you can tell that this movie originally was setting up more than just the Justice League sequel as well. Because you had Deathstroke come on the ship. Have I frozen again? Because I think I fucking have.
Just keep talking, I'm afraid.
But when Deathstroke came on the ship, and he's talking to Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor's like, "Oh, I want to start a league," which we heard in the original where it was like the after credit scene. But then he was like, "Oh, I can tell you who Batman is. It's Bruce Wayne." Because if you remember, Ben Affleck was supposed to write, direct, and star in the Batman movie, and it was supposed to be the main villain was supposed to be Deathstroke. So that was you could see that was like a linchpin. That was like this is going to go here, this is going to go here, and this is going to lead to this. And now it's looking, from what I can hear online, the chatter around line at the moment is we're probably not going to get a follow-up movie to this.
Nope, Snyder's done from what I've heard. Doesn't want to do it.
Do you know what I mean? So,
and who can blame him?
So a lot of, which is kind of why when you say about the Nightmare sequence and things, I get why it's there, because they started setting up, like a lot of people were saying as well about Lois. Do you remember the line in Batman versus Superman where Flash kind of is, obviously he does the time thing and he kind of comes through to Bruce. He's like, Lois, Lois, she's the key. And do you remember when Lois shows up after Superman's kind of being regenerated? People are like going, like, what? She's what? So she's just the one that like tames him and keeps him look normal. I was like, I don't think that's what they meant about she's the key. I think she's the key to like the bigger picture, if you get me. Because there is a sequence where, remember, it was like where I think it's where they're in the chamber and they're about to do the regeneration thing on Superman, and Cyborg jets into the fucking system, into the box, and he starts getting all these flashes of like all the Justice League dead and shit, and then you see Superman holding this
a Kilowog body in front of fucking Darkseid as well.
Exactly. And did you hear as well about because there's a scene in it where Lois opens up a drawer to get her badge after talking to like Martha the Manhunter. I'm phrasing it that. I'm telling you.
Martha Manhunter. Oh wow.
But there's a pregnancy test in the drawer.
Yeah.
And apparently, from what I was reading today,
I know. I've heard his plans.
Have you heard the plans that apparently, like, Superman and Lois' son was supposed to be born with like no powers, and after Ben Affleck's Batman dies apparently or something in the DCU, then he becomes the new Batman. I was kind of going, that's an interesting take. Like the only thing I will say about Snyder, right? Like Snyder was basically gearing up to do Injustice live action. Me again, you've lost me again, Sonny Jim. Have you lost me? I don't know. I'm still fucking there. But so he was gearing up to do a live action Injustice, like, you know what I mean? Which could have been fucking insane, like. But when you think about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We won't ever know now. We won't ever know because that's just not the direction it seems to be going. Now, look, if this Warner Brothers is, yourself, it's a fucking business. They look at the numbers after this fucking thing, has done its fucking run or whatever, and they'll go, Jesus Christ, that made that pulled in a lot of subscribers, that pulled in a lot of money, So who fucking knows? You just don't know. Like, we didn't ever think we were going to get this version. I don't think it's going to happen. Personally, I can't see it happening. But yeah, it'd be fucking interesting to see, man. Like, we haven't dove into half of this shit. Like, let's break it down. Characters. Wonder Woman.
Like, I don't know. Like, for me, I think we can't really break it down too much because we won't have much time, but I think the low lights for me is they made a passenger of Batman. The little bits of Superman that were in it were good. Cyborg was very good. What to do with him? Flash, I liked. His humor was a lot better placed this time, I think. There was no like falling and grabbing Wonder Woman's tits for no good reason, like in the first cut.
Exactly, man. That was, and do you know that was a Whedon reshoot?
Yeah.
And apparently Gal Gadot,
Didn't want it.
she refused to do it. So he got a body double, because if you watch back to that version, when Flash lands on Wonder Woman, her face is turned away from the camera. And then she just shot a reaction shot from the ground up. She wouldn't do that scene. It's just, things like that. Go on, sorry.
Yeah. Martian Manhunter shouldn't have been in it. Joker shouldn't have been in it, but I did enjoy the little back and forth between them. Deathstroke was pointless, really. I absolutely hate Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I loved all the bad guys. They were good, in my opinion. I loved all the actual bad guys, Steppenwolf from Darkseid and the Sad. Parademons look better than
they did. They look way better.
And I will say there was a proper reason for them being in Chernobyl as well. It wasn't just some place they went. All that in scene was fantastic.
It wasn't a Russian family they needed to save.
No, there was no people there at all, which was even better. Wonder Woman didn't do much. Batman could have done all he did in the movie by sitting at home on a computer. I felt.
I mean, I will admit that. I mean, I do think that Batman got relatively close to the same amount of time he got in the other movie. Like Batman genuinely wasn't pushed as the main player in this movie. Obviously he was the guy that, obviously with Wonder Woman was getting the team together and things. But I liked Alfred in this. Some of the stuff Alfred came out with.
Yeah, I love Jeremy
obviously
Irons.
There was a couple of interactions with him, and some of the interactions with him and Bruce were really fucking good. Like when he said it to him about if you're going to attack the Raging Bull, or don't take down the Raging Bull, don't go waving the red cape unless you know what's going to happen. Because obviously they hadn't brought Superman back at that point. That's really fucking good, man. It's a good line. There was a lot of good. There was
this bull charges back.
Yes. No, but I did. I liked them, and I liked the little interaction with which a lot of people were saying is like, "Oh, Superman's so broody." I was like, "Well, just get back from the dead, lads."
He was dead.
Okay, and he's still letting himself out.
Like I will say as well.
I liked was when go on.
No, go on. I will say as well, the black suit was nothing but fan service. Wasn't gone enough.
Yeah, I mean, like I would have been happier if it was like he only like had it on him, like at the beginning, and then like transitioned back into his red and blue.
I think that would have made even less sense. Because he was only really in one
maybe so, but the thing I didn't like, I will say, and this is a nitpick to fuck, right? Is like before the nightmare sequence happens, it's showing all the characters. It's showing like Cyborg like regenerating the little dictaphone thing for the message from his dad and things, and Barry showing him like the father in the prison, like, oh, I got it a real job, And then Superman comes out of and he's got the glasses on and the trench coat like the Clark Kent set up, and then he goes down the alleyway and opens his shirt, and he still has the black fucking costume. I was kind of going, you needed to have the red and black there, or sorry, the red and blue. Like you should have been like, that's when the costume of old comes back. But yeah, there was, I mean, like for me, there was a chunk of shit in this that like blew my fucking mind. Like I genuinely did. Like I was like this when he comes back and they fight him outside the memorial. Like that, obviously that sequence.
That was pretty much the same, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, the majority of that scene was the same. There was extra stuff in. There was a lot more like shots and stuff and extra bits. And there was the scene, the part that took out of it. I was so fucking happy they took out of it. Is when he picks Batman up. Remember in the original one, he picks him up by the throat and he was like, "Do you bleed?" Like that, and then he fucks him to the ground, and then Lois comes out and she's like, "Clark," and then he stops and just flies away with her, and then Batman's on the ground going, "Oh, there's definitely something bleeding." It was this stupid thing. Batman would never fucking joke like that. You know yourself, it's not Batman. It's not the character. He doesn't. He's very stern in his own right. But I did like that he did fucking kind of have an interaction with him, but obviously, he was just fucking. It was a much better sequence, and they added in more because there was even one part where he like the Flash runs at him and he just fucking swipes him away, and then the Flash ends up going right into fucking Aquaman. And the Aquaman, they're two more against the steps, and Aquaman's like just fucking points at him. He's like, "I'm sorry," because he just completely takes him out, there was moments like that. There was a lot more in it, and as I said, this goes down to the fact that it's a 4-hour runtime. It gives you a chance to build a much more cohesive story and connect a lot more dots and things. Now, obviously, you know yourself, as I was saying, is the black suit was fan service because of the regeneration thing, in the comics and things like that. And as we know, that suit didn't have a cape. That was just a basic suit. But apparently, Warner Brothers said to Snyder, was like, "There's no way you're giving him a suit without a cape." It's Superman, and we're like, so he didn't get a chance to do that. But yeah, I mean, but the overall thing, I mean, there's so much more in it. Like there's moments when Cyborg's father takes instead of in the original version, after the Superman fight and Superman flies away, the boom tube comes down and they're like, "Oh no, he got the third box." That was it. It was like Steppenwolf was just going jump box, jump box, jump box. He has all the boxes. There was no effort.
No, he had to fight. He had to fight for each one.
Yeah, in this one, it genuinely, he had to put up a fight, man, to get these boxes. And then instead of him just going straight in getting the box, Cyborg's dad takes the box and then runs it into the chamber. And we were kind of going, I was like, I remember when I watched it, it was like, why, he fucking just died for nothing. But then you realize he heated that motherfucker up like so much.
Yeah, he left a trail on it.
That he left a stamp trace. So he actually sacrificed himself to give them, a trace on that box, which I thought, like, Jesus, that was fucking heavy. And then obviously the sequence. There was a lot of, as I said, I go back to the Flash moments, which is crazy. Out of all the moments in this movie, that movie got me in the feels so fucking much, man.
It's amazing that guy that plays Cyborg's father keeps getting placed in high technological roles from Terminator 2. He was Miles Dyson in Terminator 2 as well.
I was just about to say it. I mean, he kind of had a similar well, he wasn't a similar but yeah, it was a similar fucking way ending he had in Terminator 2 as well, like, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, but overall, man, I mean, as I said, look, we're probably nearly an hour deep into this rambling about Justice League, but and we've missed a chunk of shit, like so much fucking shit.
Like before we move on, my final thought was basically I just loved Steppenwolf from start to finish, and his ending was just perfect. Where
it was perfect.
Beat the shit out of him, and then she just caught him just as he was going through the thing. Thump, chopped off his head, and it landed at that fucking whatchamacallit's feet, wasn't it?
And I saw a few people bitching about that. It's kind of similar to the whole Zod thing in Man of Steel. Like, well, why would Wonder Woman cut his head off? It's like he literally like grilled her and fucking like sneered her about killing her sisters like 5 minutes before that. So she was like, "Fuck you, you're gone," But the thing I liked about it was a sequence. It was like when they fucked him through it, and then one of them cuts his head out, and the body flies in, the head just rolls, and then Darkseid just like crushes the head with his foot. But the thing I liked about it was the visual of Darkseid as they're standing there looking through the portal, and it just sees like Superman front and center and the rest of the Justice League, and he just closes the portal. I was like, see, he's fucking. The minute the Kryptonian came back, there was like, fuck, But then obviously, main aspect of this entire thing was when the linchpin of what pushes Darkseid to go and invade, I'm assuming going forward, was the anti-life equation. Which, what is that, Brian? Does anyone know what this is?
That's his Omega powers or something like that.
No, the anti-life equation in the DC stories is this. It gives the person, the holder of it, the ability to um control people's minds and kind of like control them like all the way, not just the universe but the multiverse.
Mm.
Skip over all the Earths, obviously, all the different timelines and things like that. It gives you complete, like control to just take over and brainwash and just bend them to your will, if you will. And that's kind of what he's looking for. And that's kind of, and if you remember when he jumped down in the first fight and he slammed on the ground and caused that big, huge fucking Omega symbol thing on the floor, that's basically the mark he left on it. Then if you remember, fucking then he was defeated, obviously, as a younger Roxas, and then fucking went back to the ship. He never succeeded in taking down Earth. But yeah, man, Green Lanterns were in this, by the way.
Well, there was one alive, two dead ones by the end of it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, there was, as I said, this one for me, there was a lot more good in this. Like, I'm not even going to go like, oh well, I didn't like certain things. There were certain things I was going to, that didn't land. Doesn't mean it's crap, because there's probably 10 more people that watch it. But like, I love that music they played for Wonder Woman. I just think they played it too much. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Doesn't mean I'm right. But yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, I think all in all it was pretty much success.
It was. Yeah, I think so. Uh-huh.
Of course, it's going to have
think problems. The masses. I think more people like this. Sorry, I think more people liked this than they hated it. If you get me, because I've had people come at me and go, "That was fucking terrible." I was going, and what's my response to that, Brian? When people tell me Man of Steel is a bad movie, what's my response?
That's your
I fucking care. Exactly, because I'm still going to fucking like this movie regardless.
But yeah. As for the future DC universe, we still still don't know, basically.
Don't know. Like, as I said, as we stand right here, as we're talking about it, I don't think the Snyderverse, as it's being called now, I don't think that's going to move forward. I think they just left him put out the version he originally wanted to. I will say one thing about the whole Hallelujah song that I didn't realize till this week was that people were like, "Oh, I don't know, why does he keep using that song?" Apparently, that's his daughter's favorite song.
Ah, okay.
That's why that was used in the trailer. That's why it's on the ending credits as well.
Yeah, it was a nice little tribute.
A lovely tribute at the end,
So, away from the dark and into the bright.
Yeah.
The MCU. Everybody cheers. We're joking. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Episode 1. I was sort of entertained, I would have to say.
What was it that didn't get you all the way there?
I'm going to be honest, I found bits of it boring. I really like the opening sequence. Now, I will say before I go on, I'm not a huge fan of Falcon, and it's not the character, it's the actor. I don't really like the actor.
Yeah, it's fine.
I love him in the comics. I love Sam Wilson in the comics, and the fact that he actually has an actual eagle called Red Wing in the comics as well. I don't like the whole over ticky aspect of him in this.
Yeah,
and yeah, like the whole. I really enjoyed the opening scene and George St. Pierre coming back as Batroc the Leaper as well.
I wanted to talk to you about this because...
Go ahead. You can
No. The reason I bring it up is, right, it's been a while since I've watched Winter Soldier, the movie, right? Badrock, is that his name?
Batroc, Batroc.
That's a J. When he showed up, I was going, is that the same fucking character from fucking Winter Soldier? That's fucking deep fucking cuts. That's cool. Mm-hmm. And George St. Pierre, I thought, that's fucking class. He's fighting fucking... he's fighting Falcon on an airplane.
Like his fight with Captain America was fucking savage in the Winter Soldier. Yeah. It's one of my favorite fights in the MCU, even though it's very short. But I don't think this measured up. To be honest, like I think I have to get it out of my head that this is going to be Steve Rogers because he's never going to be Chris Evans. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, look, I know, like, not spoiling it for anyone, but I think we all know if they're going the direction of the comics, we know that, like, you know, it's the whole concept is because he becomes the new Captain America, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
well, in the comics,
if you're on this show, man, you must be reading comics.
In the comics, they've both been Captain America, so
exactly. Do you know what I mean? And who fucking knows, man? Who fucking knows? Have they fucking got? Do they have a cameo coming from? Because as far as people from what I gathered from this episode, is everyone thinks that Captain America is dead, right? But I think your man Torres isn't so fucking sold on that. So you're kind of going like, is he going to show up at the end of this? But we don't want to start speculating on the first episode like it's going to be Mephisto, because that's who I reckon it is in that mask. It's not Zemo, it's Mephisto.
But is it Zemo though? Now that the person that knocks her man flat in his arse and busts his head.
Oh, that's not Zemo. No.
That's not Zemo, like, is it?
No. I mean, then again, who fucking knows? I don't think it is though. I think that's a different what was the name of the fucking group again?
Flag Smashers.
Gotta say, hated the fucking name of that group. When I heard it, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's what they're called?
Well, Flag Smasher is the name of the character in Marvel Comics, so they've turned him into, I think, I'm going to double check this because
I'm assuming that guy is that character, so he's the Flag Smasher, Brian.
I do like the way they had Anthony Mackie thinking that it might be Bucky doing this.
Oh, yes. Now, speaking of Anthony Mackie, I just want to get this, like, just talk about this, right? The first 10 minutes of this episode was...
Yeah, Flag Smasher is a guy on his own in the comics.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that character, that guy the guy that has, like, the powers and it was like fucking dudes across the street and kind of fucking beat up Torres. I reckon that could be just Flag Smasher, like, and he's created an entire group. It would probably make more sense if it was, but the first 10 minutes of this episode this is how I broke it down in my head. The first 10 minutes of this episode was like a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was like a Marvel Netflix show. Yeah,
very, very, very good.
Yeah. Would I be right in saying that? That's kind of how it kind of seemed to balance. I'm not saying that's bad, because the Marvel Netflix shows were, outside of Iron Fist, were pretty damn good. But yeah, let's talk about Falcon. Straight up murdering dudes.
Before going any further, Saint City Limerick says, "Hello lads, hey Tubbs, long time no see."
Ask Saint City who the fuck that is, because I fucking love that fucking name and I have no clue who this is.
Well, he's watching, so you just asked him.
Yeah.
So yeah,
lately, man.
Like, yeah, go on.
Tell us man. Fucking, I feel like I've seen this name on YouTube before, like on a timeline.
Tell us, Tubbs. What about the murder in Falcon then?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not to, like, because I'm not doing it. I'm not going to dive into it, right? Because we're not doing the DC Marvel fucking switch, right? But when Batman killed motherfuckers, right, the whole internet went like, "Fucking, that's not what he does." When I saw this shit, I didn't have that reaction. I was just going, "Oh my god, he's flat out killing dudes!" Like, he's like, there's one or two of the murder of, we're gonna call it murders because he flat out murdered dudes. There's one or two murders that I mean, like, there's no, like, like one guy gets sucked out of the door of the plane, or he might have survived, he could have had a parachute, whatever. One guy, he just fucking whacks off a cliff and, like, he's like pancaked. He's dead. He fucking murders dudes in this, like, you know what I mean? And you put the helicopters and guys he blows up. I was gonna go, Falcon's a fucking badass, like, like, which for me, in a way, I was kind of, because let's be honest, and then the reason I say about the Batman thing is, it's like DC's always been garnished to be like a lot darker, and you don't really see this a lot pop up in the Marvel stuff. Like straight up execution murders and stuff. It's obviously more superhero-y. Fucking who's Harry? This guy. But when I saw him in this sequence and the way it went down, I was kind of going, all right, I'm fucking really happy you pulled the trigger on this motherfucker and just went for it, Because like he flat out fucking murdered dude. The way he got the dude off the helicopter, though, I have to admit, it's pretty fucking slick. Well, he just literally goes through it and
Straight through, yeah.
And then just fucking targets the missiles to come in after him. I thought it was fucking pretty badass. Like,
you're talking about murder. The next scene, though, the first Bucky scene.
That's a good segue.
God, wow.
Poor fucking
yeah. So
Bucky,
I did say like the lighter side, but Jesus, that assassination scene was fucking something else, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean the fact that he literally punches through the wall and then just goes, you know what I mean? Just now, don't get me wrong, I did hear one or two people like Joe saying like, "Oh, that Falcon scene was really really cool," but they could have shaved a few minutes off that and kind of extended the Winter Soldier scene. I don't think so. I think it did it did exactly what it needed to do. I don't think. I mean, you could have done, and it probably would have been fucking cool regardless. But the way it played out, it was you know, it was fine for me. I wasn't sitting there going, I needed more of that. The point was told.
I absolutely loved Winter Soldier scenes in Civil War and obviously Winter Soldier. And this, I think he's terrifying fucking when he's like that.
I mean, and this episode alone really weighs in on how much of a tragic character Bucky is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And by the time I got to the end of this episode, when it happened, I was kind of going, I was like, oh man, no matter how hard he tries to redeem his past, there's just always something there that's always going to creep in the door and just put him back into that mindset, you know?
Because when he was drinking in the bar with the old dude, my first thought was, oh, this is probably one of the guys from World War I or II or whatever it is. And then when it was revealed his name on the list and then the picture and the little vigil he had in the room, I was like, oh,
because
I felt that.
What I thought was going to happen when your man started talking about his son, because, you know, Bucky's the Winter Soldier, and, you know, I thought, he's going to go after these fuckers that killed his son.
Mm.
And he's going to, because from what I was gathering from what is, it seems to be like Bucky seems to be on this like redemption arc now. He's trying to
he was talking
because he's got 2 pages. If you saw it, remember in the book, one page is like, you know, like Zemo's on the page and everything. So their targets he's going to take out. But then there's another page of, I'm assuming, I thought these were pages of like, oh, I did this person wrong, so I'm going to try fix it. I'm going to try to do something to help them. But then
make amends, like his therapist.
Exactly, and that's what I thought it was when your man was talking. Because you see the look he threw, and this is when he was talking to your one on the date as well in the bar, and she starts talking about your man's son, and he was like, I gotta go. You know, I was kind of going like, oh man, he's gonna go after these fuckers, like, you know, he's gonna
go. When she said that, I fucking knew.
And then but then that's what I mean. I didn't click it at all. It's when I saw the picture, the nail dropped. I was like, oh fuck, he can't redeem that because he's the one that fucking killed him.
Yeah, he was going to tell him, and then he just nah.
Man, you know, I was going, Jesus Christ, like, I mean, the reason I was thinking it was like, Bucky, don't tell him. Like, he's got a short shelf life. You know, he's old. You know, so, you know, just keep that secret for another few years. You'll be all right. Like, but no, I mean, like, there was some good fucking sequences in it. There was some good moments. Like, I did realize something watching this, which I thought was very cool. Was I don't know if you agree on this, but it felt to me that like it was like Bucky, not the same scenario, not the same type, but a sort of PTSD type scenario going on with Falcon and with Bucky in 2 different ways, obviously. But you know, like Bucky's running from his past and trying to kind of like, you know, can't really accept, like he's like a war veteran that's no longer at war.
It's like what I was saying to you earlier about the DC films being about gods and monsters, whereas the Marvel characters have to deal with everyday regular shit as well as the cosmic fucking threats to the world and all this kind of stuff. So Falcon couldn't even get a bank loan. And why? Because he's missing for 5 years. The Avengers doesn't pay, apparently.
Yeah, which is fucking, when I heard that, I was going, wait a minute, the fuck are all these dudes going fucking into space fighting Thanos and fucking all this shit without any, and You got like Tony Stark as your guy to fucking Joe, and he's like a billionaire. I was kind of going, man, Tony, man, fucking shell out a few beans there, like, you know what I'm saying?
Tony's dead, so
Yeah, I mean, and then I was thinking to myself, when he went to that, I was like, why didn't he just go fucking like Happy or fucking Pepper Potts and go like, can you help me? You know, but do you know why he wouldn't? And this is what I was getting to my point.
pride.
Was it's there's a self-confidence issue in, and it's so weird how it mirrored in this episode. Like he had the shield, he gave the shield away because he felt you know,
It wasn't his. He
it's
couldn't live
not
up to
mine.
it.
I like, but not even the fact that it's not his. He's not confident enough to feel like he
He
could
can
carry
fill
that
the
mantle.
shoes.
But look how it backfired at the end. But he's also like giving it the whole, you know, like in the bank, like, oh, I'm the Falcon. Yeah, but we still can't give you anything because you've been missing for 5 years. Even though like you saved the world and we thank you for that, we still can't help you on the ground level. And then like his sister is telling him, like, you know, I like, you weren't here. I had to fucking do this. And he was like, oh, it's my house and it's my boat and I own half it and you're not selling it. He's kind of giving her the lectures about stuff, but he's not willing to step up and, you know, like take on the mantle and, you know, do the things he should do. So it's a very he kind of almost comes off as hypocritical in a lot of ways in this episode, which is crazy. But then you have Bucky. Then at the other side of it is like the PTSD of no longer being at war. Like he even says it at one point. He was like, "I've been at war for 90 years. Like that's all I know." And then it's like, "But no, now you're no longer. You're free." And he was when she said that, I was like, "He is not free. Like he might not be, you know, part of the machine anymore, but in here he's locked into it. Like, you know." He's done too much to just walk away from it.
Ben Horgan says, I really need to get Disney Plus. I'm hopefully getting it so I can watch it. Yeah, Ben.
Oh shit, Ben, we spoiled the whole fucking episode for you, buddy. We're sorry.
I'm sure he watches it and watches storylines and stuff on YouTube anyway. But yeah, like, what do you think? Like, what did you think of the reveal at the end?
I couldn't, because I kind of knew before I watched it. I could obviously have heard months and months back, like, you know what I mean. I kind of knew that the direction was going to be another Captain America that's just like a fucking massive douche or whatever, you know.
I wonder, right? You know the way
he does not look good in a suit, by the way.
Do you know the way in Captain America, the first Avenger, they used him for like USO shows and all this kind of things?
Yeah.
I wonder, is this guy just going to be that? Because I know in the trailer they have him run out of the football game or something as well, don't they?
But unless now that like they're still racking up the super soldier trials and things in the background, like, because I'm assuming this show is going to bring Hydra back to life.
Because like in the comics, this Captain America is known as John Walker, the US agent. Yeah. So like I wonder how far down into that character they'll go.
Yeah, because I genuinely thought that this was going to be he was going to be called the US agent. With kind of like a similar costume, but it seems to be like a newer Captain America costume.
I think they will go that way eventually, but
yeah. I mean, like I just said, I don't know. I mean, this is only 6 episodes, right?
6-hour episodes, yeah.
Yeah, so and this one wasn't even. This was only like 50 minutes, I think.
Yeah, but they call it an hour to take for ads.
Yeah, give or take. What am I fucking playing around with 5 minutes at a time?
You can do a lot in 5 minutes, Tubbs.
No, I mean, realistically, don't get me wrong. I mean, if this is only 6 episodes long, like they'll have to be like running fast with the direction of this show, like from next week on. I don't think. Obviously, this was just the first week, and they did kind of, you know, they did kind of show a chunk. You know what I mean? There's a chunk of stuff shown in it. You can kind of see where Bucky and Sam both are in their heads and situations, you know. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where it goes. I mean, I'm very interested and locked into see where the next 5 episodes go. But yeah, I mean, are you blown away by this first episode or?
No,
I'm the same. I was thoroughly entertained, but I wasn't blown away.
I enjoyed it, but
yeah,
I think I was a bit. There was so much content this week as well, with like I told you as well, like with the new episode of AEW, the
Twisted Tubs podcast released.
Twisted Tub podcast. This
was so much.
Solar Opposites I've been watching as well, which is fantastic.
I started watching it.
I watched the newest 2 episodes the other day.
I've only seen the first 4. Yeah, it's a good. It was a good advised one on that one. Makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, nothing makes sense really. But yeah, I think like I'm just tired. So next week, I don't think we have a lot next week, movie release wise. So I'll be giving it. So we'll see. Like, so I might enjoy it more, but I did enjoy it. It just didn't knock my socks off like WandaVision did initially.
I mean, but to be fair though, man, and this is the thing. If you go back, I mean, like I loved the very first episode of WandaVision. I thought it was so fucking cool and weird and quirky. But I do know a lot of people that like it took them at least 3 episodes to get into WandaVision, like because they were just going to say, "What's this about? Like, this is fucking weird.
This is stupid. This is fucking crap." Like,
so I mean, with these, and people have to understand as well with these Marvel shows, man. This is, it's not like it's Marvel, so Marvel always have a plan. They know where they're going, but the TV show element is a very new thing to them. So obviously, you know what I mean. Obviously, I mean, I would look at like this episode or even the first 2 episodes as like the first act of a Winter Soldier Falcon movie, if you were to break it down that way.
And also, like sticking with the TV shows, did you see footage has come out of Oscar Isaac doing boxing training for Moon Knight?
Really? Okay. I didn't see this.
Yeah.
Is there actual footage there?
There is. If you go, you can find it. I saw it on Twitter earlier.
Oh, Moonlight, huh?
Yeah.
Marvel's version of Batman. I like it. Oh, I'm not even joking. I actually had a conversation. Actually, going back to DC here for a second, right? I heard one of the conversations I had a few days ago. Was that apparently Thanos looks like a CGI, like a really badly done Thanos. It's like they're just, look at DC just ripping off Thanos. Like, I was going to go.
Well, Darkseid was made first, like, so.
It was made fucking before Thanos. Like, you do realize that, like, I mean, I've said this before.
Slade Wilson was made before Deadpool as well. I know all these things, like.
Yeah, it's like, and it's not just like, like Marvel copied DC in their design. DC have done it as well. There are so many characters back and forth through the Marvel and DC wave.
Well, you know what to say,
like, now.
You know what to say, though.
It
takes one person to create someone. It's another person to perfect it.
But do you want to know the crazy thing? The funniest one that I was reading up on was on this, like, like who stole designs from who and kind of what characters are very similar and what came first. Solomon Grundy was created first, right? And then Marvel created the Hulk. But when the Hulk became super popular, DC went back and changed how Grundy's appearance was and characteristics because we're like, we need him to be more like the Hulk. So he created the fucking character. It's just funny. It's just so funny.
Solomon Grundy only comes on a Monday.
But no, but it's crazy because when you think of it, like, I mean, for the Dawn of comics and stuff, man, that it's it's as you said, like when you look at Deathstroke and Deadpool,
Slade Wilson and Wade Wilson.
Yeah, I mean they're fucking, but over time they've become their own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I was kind of going like, when your man was saying it to me, I was kind of going like, you do realize that like Darkseid was created first, right? I'm not saying that like,
were they not the same creators as well?
Jim Kirby created Darkseid. I think. Oh, I'll get it wrong. I think it was 9. I'm not even going to give it a year because I'll fucking butcher it. But I think it was 1940. Darkseid was created, and I think it was 1941 or 42.
You're way off, Tubbs. It was in the 60s anyway, definitely.
Yeah, 60s. So, but there's a 2-year.
Jim Starlin created Thanos, actually. Now that I think of it.
Yeah, so but I think it was Jim Kirby that created Darkseid. There was a 2-year gap between the two.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, like.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
knew that there was a 2 year span between the two, but I was 20 years off. But
To me anyway, like that kind of stuff doesn't make any liquid sense to me. Like I don't care about that stuff. I know more about Thanos because I've seen more Thanos stuff.
exactly. But look,
So,
it does come down to
that.
what you read more. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
what stories hit with you more. Do you know what I mean? And as you know yourself, it's and I know we always joke back and forth about it, about DC and Marvel between the two of us. But I know when you were growing up, you read more Marvel than you did DC, and I was the same. I read more DC than I did Marvel. But we've gotten older. We've become older people, men, some might say. And
Some might say.
yeah, some might say we're fucking totally not. Peter Panning it up in this fucking motherfucker, talking with my hands.
But like, yeah, it's not only Marvel and DC. Like you've got Image Comics as well. IDW
Loads, man.
made the Turtles that no one really knows about. So yeah, that's a topic for next week. Your favorite non-Marvel DC comics.
Comics. Ooh, okay, yes. Now, are we ending the show now, or are we going on to one final topic?
It's up to you, my friend.
Because I think you did say you had one final topic you wanted to like end the show on.
Well, okay. So I was going to do our worst, like what comic book movie do you? It can be one that you think is the worst, or that one that you hate, or one that's like
Okay.
Guilty pleasure. That's the one I was going to say.
Okay. How about this? How about we name two? All right. One that we think is the worst and one that we hate. Like one that actually just personally you hate.
Okay.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to ramble off on one?
Jeez, there's so many. Like, do you want to hear Guilty Pleasure actually first?
Yes.
Batman and Robin.
Do you know what though? Do you know what?
Arnold Schwarzenegger is just at his funny best, and it's terrible. And it's awful.
I get it, man. I get it, because look, at the end of the day, I know, as fans, right, as people that watch this stuff, we get super fucking serious about it, and when someone says something bad about that we go, oh fuck this guy. At the end of the day,
sometimes Tubbs, you just need to chill.
Exactly, you just need to fucking chill and realize. I'm going to say it. Fictional characters. Not supposed to get this fucking upset about stupid shit. Yeah, but
Tubbs, you're not supposed to say the fictional characters. You're supposed to treat them as their life and death.
The point I'm trying to make is, right, I understand because there's a connection, and I'm the same way. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm fucking connected to these things. Like, I fucking Man of Steel is my jam, and anyone that fucking gives out about it, I never waver. I mean, I won't give out to them for not liking it, but I never waver on it because I fucking love it. But I can totally understand the whole Batman and Robin thing, because it's not a good movie.
No,
it's fucking terrible. But I've sat down and watched it a few times myself. Now, the guilty pleasure I have, and I've said this to you before, are the Resident Evil movies.
They're not comic book movies, though.
I know they're
video
terrible.
Game movies.
Which?
They're video game movies.
Oh, no, but you were saying guilty pleasure, but I'm going to superheroes. The superhero movie that's my guilty pleasure is fucking Daredevil.
Yeah, that's not. The director's cut is awesome.
And it's the director's cut is what found me and brought me back to it. I for the longest time, people were like, "Oh, that fucking movie's terrible." I was kind of going, it's not. It's not 100% the best comic book movie ever made. There's some really questionable shit in it. Colin Farrell's Bullseye is pretty fucking
it's not
terrible.
The worst part. Worst comic book movie then?
That you think, no, not the worst comic book movie there is, but one that you think, like personally, you think is the worst one. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. Doesn't matter what any opinion.
See, like my opinion on this will change day by day.
Yeah, but okay for today, right on today, it's Sunday. What's your fucking worst?
Suicide Squad. No, actually, Harley Quinn, the new one. It is the only comic. It is the only comic book movie in the last 20 years I wanted to turn off before the end. And that's.
I know mine. I don't even. And mine never changes. It might fluctuate between maybe in the top three, but it's always in the top three. That's Elektra.
That is fucking terrible as well.
Fucking terrible. Now, as I've said to you, because I think we talked about this before, it is at least they somewhat got the costume right.
That's about all they got right.
Everything outside of that was just. I felt so bad for Jennifer Garner, man, because she got like a lot of praise for she's really good in Daredevil. She's kind of got the energy, and we could give her a solo movie, and then it just fell apart.
Like Elektra is supposed to be like Elektra reminded me of Will Smith in Suicide Squad. Deadshot is supposed to be a soulless, heartless, cold-blooded killer. So is Elektra, and they made like a rom-com out of her movie. And they made Will Smith a likable, misunderstood assassin.
And I always wondered to myself, was that Will Smith's input going no, but I'm Will Smith, so can't be. I need to be liked or whatever. And I'm kind of going, that's not your character, buddy.
Yeah, he probably didn't. He probably didn't want to be a bad guy because he's probably bad on his rep or whatever. Nick Holohan says, I have some bad game movies like Super Mario or Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Oh God. And he also says the Michael Bay TMNT movies, actually. Oh fuck no, I'm going to change my mind, actually. Can't think of the words. Technically, Transformers are comic book movies, and Revenge of the Fallen and all the following Transformers movies by Michael Bay are the worst fucking comic book movies ever.
I don't know, that one with the Mark Wahlberg and the Boston accent. And I still haven't, and you've told me to watch this. I still haven't watched Bumblebee because I was so fucking
Bumblebee is
those Transformers
brilliant.
films. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet and go and watch it someday.
I guarantee you, Tubbs, you will enjoy Bumblebee. I am one of the harshest critics of the Transformers movies, and I really like Bumblebee.
I'm going to have to give it a go. I'm going to have to give it a watch at some point and just fucking kind of see how I get on with it, because I think it was the last few.
John Cena's in it, and he's actually really good.
See him, though?
What?
Can you see him?
Okay, so what do you think is the worst comic book movie ever?
Okay, ever.
I feel like we should have a top 5 or something, shouldn't we?
I mean, we can make that a topic for next week. We can have a full conversation.
We're only skimming the surface now,
Yeah, we're only skimming the surface of this one, man. Worst one of all time. I mean, personally, I think the Elektra one is the worst, but I think genuinely one of the worst comic book movies of all time for me is probably Ghost Rider 2.
I liked Ghost Rider 2.
Yeah, but look, as I said, it's odd opinion. Do you know what I mean? It's odd.
The 90s Captain America movie is fucking horrendous.
Oh, okay. You see, I'm not even thinking back. Like I'm actually fucking, we're talking about oh no, Ghost Rider wasn't great. But then you think back and go like, oh man, do you remember the fucking Spider-Man movies before fucking they actually were made for Hollywood? Jesus, there's so many fucking bad ones.
Yeah, I suppose once you're going into TV territory or
TV movies are really bad movies. We really need to have a proper go home around the thinking caps and look, not just like the DC movies, the early Marvel and then the MCU. I think we really need to dig into because if you remember, there's the old Punisher with David Hasselhoff.
No, that was Dolph Lundgren.
He was Nick Fury. What am I?
He was Nick Fury, yeah.
Yeah, he was Nick Fury. Sorry, and then you had Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher. So there's a lot of there's a lot of weird ones there. So
for next
week,
who
can remember Howard the Duck?
I loved Howard the Duck.
Fucking did as well. Best sex scene I've ever seen.
Quack.
Yeah, he fucked Barney McFly's ma.
Yeah, so fucking weird. He was in fucking Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or 1. Sorry.
What I didn't realize as well is he's actually For a split second, he's on screen in England.
Is he?
In the
I
battle,
saw that. I saw
yeah,
the
battle
pause
scene, yeah.
fucking thing. Yeah.
When they all come through the portals, he's there with a big fucking huge gun. I was kind of going, huh.
Ben says Bumblebee is awesome as well.
I will check it out, Ben.
Fucking is. So for next week,
yeah,
what we're going to do is obviously Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can dive into the history of bad comic book movies after that.
Yeah, fucking, and I mean, it doesn't have to be even just one genre. Like, I mean, we could really fucking.
Oh, we can do if we got all night to do video game movies.
I mean, but there's enough there. I mean, we don't even have to. And you know what we should do? Do you know what we should do? We should take the week and look over all of the, go back to the dawn of time when superhero movies started, right? We'll go through and we'll start picking. But I think we should pick out
right back to Tony the T-Rex.
Well, no, but what we should really do is we should both pick 10 movies and put them on a list and discuss those 10 movies and why we picked them. Because the likelihood is we're going to find such bad ones that we're going to probably come up with gems that fucking people are like, oh, remember that shit? You know? So,
Masters of the Universe, my friend. Masters of the Universe.
Dude, I don't care what anyone fucking says. I still fucking love that movie.
That
my brother John is in the comments. He fucking loves it too.
That is the template for Thor 1, like straight up.
Dude, realistically, I even said it before. Like, it's shocking in 2021 that they haven't
made one yet.
That they haven't made a He-Man movie set like on Grayskull and within, like the fantasy universe that is fucking his entire kind of thing. They've done the cartoons, they're bringing it back on Netflix from Kevin Smith and stuff. But yeah,
it's only a matter of time, I would say.
I mean, I know they were planning it for a while. I mean, I know
they've had a few attempts already.
There was casting. I mean, there was casting all attached to it.
There actually is still. I think that's been made. Yeah.
I mean,
is it Noah something is cast as He-Man?
Yes. Like, see, but I think with that, I think the way they would do it would be kind of similar to the whole Shazam thing. They'd have your man play like Adam of Grayskull, but then when he turns into He-Man, he's a different actor.
I have the power.
Or he's bigger. But he's like the Hulk. Do you know what I mean? Like he might have or he might resemble the actor, but yeah, I can't see it just being a whole like I have the power. Oh, where's my pink sweater vest? Oh, I'm wearing chainmail now. You know.
Just like Chris Hemsworth do it. He's big enough already.
Dude, just fucking cast Chris Hemsworth as fucking He-Man. Oh,
he's already doing Hulk Hogan.
He-Man. He just has a different name. You know? And he's gotten bigger for the Hogan movie.
Yeah, he's absolutely.
He's jacked now, like. He was always jacked, but he's jacked-er.
Jacker.
He's jacker.
He's jackered.
He's jackered now. For the He-Man, he is.
So, guys, that ends this week's Brian and Tubbs Culture Cast. I hope you enjoyed it. And make sure to subscribe. Check out Tubbs during the week. He'll have 2 more podcasts coming up for whom. Do we know who's coming up this week, Tubbs?
I haven't announced them yet, so probably put a post out maybe Monday or Tuesday to kind of let you know who's coming.
But it'll be on 4:30 Wednesday and Friday.
4 o'clock. 4 p.m.
On 4
p.m. Wednesday and 4 p.m. Friday.
On the Twisted Tubbs page. So, guys, hope you enjoyed yourselves. We did. We had fun. And we will see you next time. Ben says, what movie do you think is the worst? Watch us next week, Ben. We'll be doing a list of worst movies.
We're going to list it up, Ben.
So, we'll see you next week, guys. Bye. Bye. Brian and Tubbs Culture Cast.